Shalom. All glory, honor, and praise is due only unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakaha Kwadash. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of the great millstone. Salutations, peace, and blessings to the elect. Today is January the 8th, 2026, the year of apostates, sellouts, and agents, as dubbed through the Spirit by the elder apostle Tahar. And this came out a few hours ago on Axios, actually 52 minutes ago rather. It says Donroe Doctrine, right? DJT is implementing, they calling it Donroe Doctrine, all right, in honor of this devil. Okay, but this goes back to 1823 and President James Monroe and the Monroe Doctrine, which that's been in the news a lot lately. And this is just what the devil does. Basically, in 1823, Monroe said there will be no European intervention in the Western Hemisphere. All right. In other words, the devil stole an entire hemisphere, which basically, that happened in 1492 when Cristobal Colon, whom the world ignorantly refers to as Christopher Columbus, conquered the northern kingdom over here in the Americas, right? But this is just what the devil does, man, all right? He just steals shit. He takes shit that's not his. And you got these retarded ass, simple-minded, bird-brained Edomites, so-called white people here in America cheering the man on. And he's nothing but a thief, man. All right? This is the thief that Yahweh spoke of in John the 10th chapter, Esau. All right? And it begins with his elites, man, the mount of Esau, them Rothschilds, them Rockefellers, etc., the tiny tops, the small hats, the fake JOOZ, those people. Okay? This is the man of sin being fully revealed. He's been revealed, but now, if it ain't blatantly obvious at this point, all right, to you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians who are the Lord's chosen people, it's because the Lord has blinded your eyes, man. Okay? Bottom line. You are the Lord's chosen people, to include you speckled bird brothers and sisters, the Israelite foreigners. And if you can't see this man is clearly the devil, then ain't no hope for you, man. You're going to perish over here in Babylon the Great, a.k.a. America, during the time of Jacob's trouble, which we in. We've been in Jacob's trouble. We in the beginning, but we in it. This is the beginning of sorrows. That's what Yahweh Shai called the time we in right now. In Matthew's the 24th chapter. Matter of fact, let me read that, because you know what? It's good to read these middle scriptures. We don't always got to roughly paraphrase. Let's get that. Let's read it for edification purposes. This is the book of Matthew, St. Matthew chapter 24. And verse 7. Now I'm going to pick it up in 6. And it reads, "And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars." All right? That's all we hearing about lately, man. We only on day number 8 of this year. And all we hearing about is the U.S. going into Colombia, the U.S. is going into Greenland, the U.S. is going into Cuba, So, we hearing about, Chinese warships and Russian warships making their way, to so-called South America, right? Wars and rumors of wars, man. We're hearing about the so-called Chinese invasion of Taiwan. you hear about Babylon going to war with China, right? You hear about North Korea. They constantly in the news, testing their intercontinental ballistic missiles. War and rumors of wars. All right, see that ye be not troubled. We don't got to be troubled, man. It's just part of it, This is it. We expecting these things, man. We were warned ahead of time by Yahweh Shai. Okay? It says, "For all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet." You know, we close to it, but it's not yet. Verse 7, for nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. The other day there was a massive one down in Mexico, right? Rocked you Issacharites down there, you so-called Mexicans, right? It says, verse 8, this is the point, all these are the beginning of sorrows. That's where we are on the timeline, right? We measure the time diligently, right, pursuant to 2nd Ezra, the 9th chapter. We measuring the time diligently in itself. You know, we're marking the time. So we know where we are. Okay, according to biblical prophecy, we are in the beginning of sorrows, right? But let's get John, the book of John, St. John. And once again, these are going to be the words of Yahushua himself. When Yahushua walked this earth, he spoke this, okay? This is the book of St. John again, chapter 10 and verse 10. The thief cometh not, but for to steal and to kill and to destroy. That's what this man does. That's what Esau does. He steals, he kills, and he destroys, man. All right? He steals, he kills, and he destroys. Murders, right? Going all the way back to his forefather Cain, the first murderers written of in the scriptures. Cain, who killed his brother, righteous Abel. You know, Yahushua said Yahushua said Esau was the murderer from the beginning, man, and he abode not in the truth. He's talking about Esau, but it was going back to Cain, man. He was referencing Cain, because the Edomites descend from Cain. Okay. I am come that they might have life and that they might have it more abundantly. That's why Yahushua came. He came for the elect lambs. He came for his elect. This time around, only the elect are going to be redeemed, all right, out of the hellfire that's coming to America, which is going to be complements of the intercontinental ballistic, intercontinental ballistic missiles and the chariots of the Lord of ships. He's coming for the elect of Yasharallah. Again, the elect of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians, and the speckled bird brothers and sisters who are scattered into the four corners of the earth, right? And it starts with the 144,000, the righteous kings and priests in the earth right now. Okay, but yeah, man. So let's check this out on Axios, right? What the Donroe Doctrine is and where Trump could use it next, right? And it reads, President Trump is leaning into a 19th century policy in announcing plans for the U.S. to run Venezuela until it's brought back to health, following the U.S. military operation that captured Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro, while his predecessors sought to distance themselves from the Donroe Doctrine that the U.S. established to combat European interference in the Americas. Trump's eagerness, for a 21st century version of the policy, underscores his wider goal to restore American preeminence in the Western Hemisphere. Right? This devil trying to take over everything, man, and for who? All right, not for the American people, no, for his bosses, the small hats. Again, this is the man of sin, man. This is the wicked spoken of in the book of Job, the 9th chapter. I'm gonna read that verbatim too. All right, just taking shit that don't belong to him. Now it's all fulfillment of biblical prophecy, but the Most High come back to destroy this damn devil, man. All right. So, give me just a second. There's the book of Job, chapter 9 and verse 24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. See, the Lord gave Esau, Edom, this earth. All right. It was given to him. All right. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? Right. If Esau, Edom, if the so-called white man ain't the wicked, who is that? Again, stealing a whole hemisphere. Just taking people's shit. Yeah, we're going to take your oil. We're going to take your gold. We're going to take your resources. We're going to oppress your people. We're going to send economic hitmen into your country. Yeah. And fleece all of you. You know? And they don't care who they kill, who they murder, who they destroy in their wake. This is the damn devil. Right? And this is what he was created to do. But again, the Most High created this man right? Just so he could destroy him at the end, right? Because how he's going to be taken out of power again is via this thermonuclear destruction that's coming, right? And that's why the saints of the Most High are getting ready to take the kingdom, right? Let's get that. Salakia, kind of all over the place. Let's get a Sirach, chapter 10 and verse 8. And it reads, because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another, right? The kingdom is going to be translated from one people, Esau, to another, Jacob. Remember, this is the end of Esau's world. Okay, Most High coming back again to destroy this damn devil. Trump dubbed his version of the 1823 policy the Donroe Doctrine. Proud, man. Right, suggesting the U.S. raid in Venezuela that captured Maduro went far beyond what the Monroe Doctrine was capable of. And this goes into it. All right, so I kind of went over it, but we'll pick it up here. It says, the U.S. national security strategy that was published in November asserts a Trump corollary to the Monroe Doctrine that declares the U.S. will assert its political, economic, and military will across the Western Hemisphere. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth declared last month that this doctrine is in effect and is stronger than ever under the Trump corollary. Yeah, and these devils are proud, man. You know, they think they can't be stopped. They got to, hold on. This is another scripture coming up here. What is that? Daniel's Salakia. The other day I saw an interview. DJT and Lindsey Graham were being interviewed on Air Force One, and they talking so proud. They so proud and arrogant about what they're doing. You know, lofty looks, arrogance, pride. They oozing with pride, these devils, man. All right. And their look is more stout than these other Edomites, man. All right, because you got there's certain EU powers that are totally against what Trump is doing. Especially, they saying that NATO is going to be broken up. You know, if he goes into Greenland, man. All right. And again, it's all biblical prophecy. But this is the book of Daniel's. This is Daniel's chapter 7 and verse 20. And of the 10 horns that were in his head, right, the 10 horns of those EU nations, right, the European Union, and of the other which came up, and before whom 3 fell, even of that horn that had eyes, that the little horn being spoken of in this chapter is America, right? And the 3 which fell were the British, the French, and the Spanish, right? It says, even of that horn that had eyes and a mouth that spake very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellows. DJT has got that look, man. He's pompous, all right? He's more stout than his fellow Edomite, all right, colleagues. They getting sick and fucking tired of his ass, man. And you go into Revelation, the 17th chapter, you can go and read it, verses 15 on down to the end of the chapter. These EU powers are going to eat America's flesh, eat this whore's flesh, and burn her with fire, man. Right? In other words, they're going to have a hand in wrecking this whore's economy, and then they're going to burn her with fire. They're going to shoot their intercontinental ballistic missiles on this fucking place, man. They'll say it the prophecies. They'll say it the scriptures. They're getting sick and fucking tired of DJT, man. The nations of the earth are sick of this, man. They sick of his bullshit, man. And Isaiah the 47th chapter talks about her time being near to come. This place is getting ready to be destroyed. All right. It says Trump can show in the wake of the Venezuela raid that, like Roosevelt, he's prepared to use force in the internal affairs of Latin American countries if he sees them as committing wrongs against the U.S. Per David Smith, Associate Professor of American Politics and Foreign Policy at the University of Sydney's United States Studies Center. While many in MAGA world dislike using the U.S. military for overseas interventions, this Trump administration can say it's not really an overseas intervention if it happens in the Western Hemisphere, Smith said in a Wednesday email. Right, they devils, man. They figure out how to bypass their own shit. They write laws, right? They pass legislation, and then they certain loopholes, and they work around shit if they feel like it, if it benefits them. That's what the devil does, man. Right? And these are all unrighteous decrees. Isaiah the 10th chapter goes into that. And the scriptures talks about woe to them who, matter of fact, let me read it. Let me read it. Let's not roughly paraphrase it. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 10 verse 1. Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees and that write grievousness which they have prescribed. All right, this was referring to the Assyrians, right? And who's the modern day Assyrian? Right? The Edomites. Right? And again, it always starts at the top, man, with the power brokers in this earth. All right, the synagogue of Satan, man. These illuminists, right? These Chaldeans, these wizards and warlocks, calling themselves Jewish, right? Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees and that write grievousness which they have prescribed, right? So yeah, man. Again, woe is coming, right, to Esau. Woe, meaning destruction, calamity, misery. That's what's coming to Esau. All right, and again, I keep on repeating myself, but it bears repeating. All right, it starts with the mount of Esau, his elites. They're going to be the first fruits of slavery the same way the 144,000 slack are going to be the first fruits of salvation. All right, so what are these devils, man? Okay. So the article goes on to talk about Cuba, right? What's going on? You know, with Greenland, right? Colombia, right, etc., etc. But yeah, the Donroe Doctrine. This devil, you know, is getting ready to be destroyed, man. Proverbs 16:4. All right, says that. Matter of fact, let's just read it. We'll close it out. Slovakia. All right, we'll close it out with this one. Proverbs chapter 16 verse 4. The Lord Yahweh hath made all things for himself, yeah, even the wicked for the day of evil. So he's getting ready to destroy Esau, the goddamn devil the Bible speaks of. All right? Lord willing, you was edified through the Spirit. With that, I want to say shalom. Us on to the next video.